to Planetary Gig Talk, Tales of Music and Magic. I'm your host, Jefferson Glassy, Chief Spiritual Dude of the Planetary Gig Society, whose mission is creating unity through music, but as I really like to say, making connections through music with the intention of bringing peace. And once again, not in Studio One at the worldwide headquarters of the Planetary Gig Society, but in a better place, outside of Nashville, at fabulous Wooten Woods, and at Spirit of Music Camp, and with the privilege of being once again out under the pavilion at night with the crickets and with some folks playing out in the background, and super excited and happy to be able to talk with a great friend and fabulous musician, and can't wait to talk with Dylan Hughes from Seattle.
Hey, how's it going? Good to be here, Jefferson.
Oh man, Dylan, so great to talk with you. We met last year at Spirit of Music Camp, and I felt I didn't really connect as much until on the bus ride on the ride home.
I feel like that's when we met.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people and whatever,
yeah. But I love. We had a great conversation. I love that.
It was really good. And it was actually about the interview with Michael, and I said, gosh, it was so long I might have to edit it. And you said, well, yeah, but I want to hear the whole thing.
And I did. And I'm glad you didn't edit it.
I know.
That was good.
I listened to it and I said, Dylan was right.
I knew. I mean, it was Michael. You can't censor Michael.
You can't. Yeah, that's
Michael Cott.
Absolutely true. But then this year, got in early, got to spend some time together, play a little bit, hanging out, and he did give me that rock. So it's pretty cool.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, it was for one of these.
Yeah, the shaker egg, the Planetary Gig Society shaker eggs.
Yeah, that you gave me on the bus that day last year. Yeah.
Best shaker eggs on the planet.
And just followed me around.
That's cool. I'm happy
for
about
a year
that. Now. So, yeah, we have had a great time this year.
We have had a great time this year.
It's just unbelievable. So many, profound things in a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And friendships, and, it's really a amazing community of people out here. So, but I would like to kind of start, at the beginning, like I usually like to start. I'm always interested in, when music came along and tapped somebody on the shoulder, and some people it's just can be any time, 2 or 4 or 5 or whatever. Do you remember what are sort of your first memories of music in your life? Did you have a musical family? Did did everybody play, or was it something you grabbed onto, or was there a trigger for the first memory? How did this thing get started?
My first memories are probably just listening to records in the car on family trips.
Uh-huh.
My dad loved music. My parents were musicians, but they were actually theater actors. That's how they met.
Oh, really?
They were done with that by the time I was born, so I've never seen them on stage. But my dad loved music. He loved like Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Named me Dylan. He loved B.B. King.
Wow. Oh, he named you after Bob Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. That's cool. That's great.
Yeah.
So
there was a lot of Bob Dylan, a lot of B.B. King, a lot of like Motown, Four Tops growing up, a lot of Beatles growing up. Those were probably the biggest ones, but just a lot of music in the house and in the car all the time. My dad is definitely a foot tapper when the music's on. He's way into it, so he feels it for sure.
So did you start taking lessons at some point, or was there something where you said, oh, piano or whatever?
Yeah, actually, when I was in elementary school, in 4th grade, you get to pick up a concert band instrument. And somehow I knew from like kindergarten or 1st grade that I wanted to play the flute.
You were ready for the flute.
I knew it. I was like, when in 4th grade when they were signing you up, some people were like, well, I might want this and I might want this, and they had like secondary instrument. I didn't even have a secondary instrument because I think I saw the
flute?
school band
Oh.
playing when I was young, knowing that in 4 or 5 years I was going to get to do that, and maybe just the flutes were the melody or something like that. But something about the flute, I was like, I'm going to play that instrument.
That's cool.
I did. I played flute in school from 4th grade to 8th grade.
Uh-huh.
And but then I got a bass, my first bass in 7th grade.
How did that happen?
Well, basically, I had one friend who played guitar, and I had another friend who wanted to play drums. So I was like, okay, I'll get a bass. But
I've heard that more than once from bass players.
it seems to happen a lot. I just wanted to play. I just wanted to make music. Music was always, now when you say it like that, taps you on the shoulder, like music was always tapping me on the shoulder. My mom used to say, oh, he's always got a song in his heart. Because I'd just be like around the house just singing to myself some song, whatever it was,
Oh, man.
And I got a bass for my birthday / Christmas in 7th grade when I turned 13. And I took some lessons. I think I took about 6 months or a year of lessons a couple of times from the same guy in Seattle. His name was Fred Challenor. And he gave me a lot of really good stuff. I wasn't really into that stuff at the time, but it did sink in.
Yeah.
I learned like basic walking bass lines and basic theory from him and stuff like that. And I just wanted to play rock music at that time. I learned a lot just by listening to records and getting tabs off the internet and playing with my friends and stuff like that. But I learned stuff from him for sure. He gave me a lot of knowledge that popped in later. Like it was subconscious in the back of my mind. I was never using it. But then once it did start coming up later in life, I was like, oh, I know some of this stuff already,
Cool.
And
yeah.
I think it was my first lesson from him. He gave me 2 cassette tapes, 2 Thelonious Monk cassette tapes to listen to.
Wow.
And at the time, jazz, I'd never listened to jazz really. We didn't listen to that stuff. It was more pop music in my house, you know, or like older pop music, but still pop, right? Or classical sometimes. But like, yeah, he gave me 2 Thelonious Monk tapes, and I probably listened to it, put them in the tape deck and played a little bit, and was like, I don't get it, whatever. My mom saved them. They were in my basement, so I came back like 10, 15 years later, just digging through the basement. I found these 2 cassettes, and I listened to them over and over and over again. So thank you.
You were ready then.
Thank you, Fred, for those. That was really awesome.
But after you got the bass, probably, about that age, you probably got in. Well, you started off in a band. Then you just continue in bands all the time, or you've been in a whole bunch of bands?
I really just kind of jammed on my own for a few years. And then in high school, my friends and I started a band called Missing Link.
Missing Link.
And it was awesome. And, we were just writing rock songs and hanging in my mom's garage every day after school and just challenging each other and pushing each other to get better and better at music. And one of my friends, the guitarist who was like the main guy starting it with me, his name's Tyler Hamilton, and we still play music together now, 20 years later.
Wow.
I've known him since 6th grade, and I remember before I played bass, he already played guitar in the 6th grade talent show. He was playing Come As You Are, the Nirvana song, and we were sitting in the front row rocking out to it, and I was like, that's awesome. So that guy taught me a lot in my early, of the other side of it. I was getting kind of like theory stuff from Fred, from my teacher, but then in the garage, Tyler, I was learning a ton from Tyler.
You're that kid, sort of the 2 through 10 there.
Yeah. I was getting the 2 through 10 from Tyler, exactly. And he he was crazy. He could like, even when we were young, he was like, he could hear like all the different parts of the record and like show me bass lines and give me like dial in bass lines. And and like a little bit later, like in high school, he was like recreating people's songs, just all the different parts of the song and recording it into his computer and just making these really amazing music.
Oh my God.
It was wild.
I'm trying to learn to listen like that.
I know, right? Yeah, so I've been really blessed with musical teachers of all different kinds along the way, along the journey, you know, so it's been really cool.
So then college or 20s or whatever, you just continued in bands, or maybe when you got that tape, you went in a different direction? What?
I had already been, when I found that tape, that was, I was already into jazz a little bit at that point. I think I was already in college, in music school, and like playing jazz songs, and so it was kind of just like on parallel. That tape came in parallel with whatever I was doing.
You went to music school for college?
I went to University of Washington for a little bit and just kind of bummed around, wasted time and money for a couple years. I didn't even try to get into the music program there because I just didn't have the confidence, I guess. I'm pretty sure if I had put the time in and tried, I would have gotten in, but I just didn't really. I thought of myself as just like a rock musician or something like that. I couldn't read music really that much at that point, and still don't read music that well, but that's another thing. But I kind of just bummed around there, used up all the music classes I could take without being in a major pretty quick, and then was just kind of got burnt out and depressed at UW, took a quarter off, and one of my friends was doing audio engineering classes at Shoreline Community College up north, and I was like, one night I was talking with my brother, and I was like, man, I want to do something like that. And he's like, why don't you? It's like, oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, why not? So I did. I signed up the next quarter and went there and started off audio engineering, did a quarter or two of that, but then was like, nah, I just really want to play.
Yeah.
And I switched over to performance classes after that. And
but so sort of music kind of got you back on track in a sense.
Yep.
Funny how that happens.
Funny how that keeps happening. It's probably not the first or last time that's happened in my life, right? And so I started doing performance, and I started taking private lessons from the bass teacher there named Steve Kim, who happened to be an incredible fretless bass player, which was wild because I had just started playing fretless about a year ago. I had just got my first fretless bass about a year ago, and he fell in my lap, figuratively, of course, and he just tuned me up and got me playing the fretless really well. I basically played fretless for about almost 10 years exclusively. What
do you like about the fretless versus the other? I mean,
I love it now. I'm not sure why I got it then. That was kind of, my brother was just like, you should get a fretless. I was like, oh, okay. My brother's got a lot of influence over me. My younger brother.
Maybe that was music talking through him.
Yeah.
Dylan needs a fretless bass.
Yeah, I guess so. And
So then, what's been kind of going on more recently? What have you been doing? What are you playing now, and what's been happening?
I'm playing around Seattle quite a bit. I mostly play electric or fretted now, and just like keep the fretless for when it's like more special occasions, or just the right sound, because it's a very distinct sound. You know, I still practice on it most of the time, just because I like being able to navigate that.
You got to know where you got to put your fingers.
And it's definitely a bunch of muscle memory on that one.
Yeah.
And I got a few different groups that I play with pretty regularly around Seattle. I got the Ancient Robots, which is just a group of really great musicians who I've been blessed to get to play with. I play in a group with my brother. He's a wonderful guitar player, amazing like jazz guitar player. His group's called Freudian Slurp, and that's kind of jazz fusion stuff. I told you I played with my buddy Tyler Hamilton, the Tyler Hamilton Band, and I've been working on my solo stuff called BassFienD.
BassFienD.
Yeah, I've been doing, and I haven't done a whole lot of performing with that, but I've released a few EPs over the last few years, and just been trying to get my music, spend more time on my music, and get my music out into the world, you know?
I just think it's so cool because I didn't get the tap on the shoulder till I was like 43 and had 3 kids and, oh my God, the harmonica. But it's just really, I don't know, I just love hearing that. And it just seems like you kind of gives you a path and you get right on it. And now you're doing, you're a great player.
Hey, thank you. I really appreciate that.
So I know you've been doing some stuff recently. You had a big performance this summer.
The end of summer, August 28th, I had a show where we did John Coltrane's album, A Love Supreme. And that album's that's been tapping me on the shoulder for about 4 years now. I first heard it when I was on tour in 2015 with a reggae band called the High Life Band. We were going on tour down the West Coast, and we were in the van, and we played it. We listened to it a bunch of times, and I really just totally fell in love with it then, and have listened to it. When I was young, I would really fall in love with albums like Pink Floyd albums or like Jeff Buckley albums or Beatles albums. I'd listen to them over and over, but as I kind of got a little bit older and like more into music as a profession and into being a sideman, playing everybody else's gigs, having a lot of music to learn. There weren't many albums that I really connected with for a while, not in that way anyway. A lot of music I love and love playing especially, but like really just love listening to. And that one just grabbed me, and I don't know entirely why, to be honest.
It's like, why does... I've been grabbed by so many songs. Of course, that made... Even back to the harmonica last few years, some little Walter song, I'll be like, oh my God, I gotta play it. And sometimes, at some points, it seems to me, it almost gives your life meaning.
Yeah.
You got all this other stuff going on.
Well, that's huge.
And you just want to... I just want to do this song. So, I can see how you can get into those kinds of things.
Well, this show absolutely gave my life meaning. I was actually, I'll give you the story. So, through my 20s, I was blessed to be able to just be playing and teaching music and just doing music all the time through my 20s. But I'm 33 now, and a few years ago, I got burnt out teaching, and I had to stop because I was becoming not a very good teacher. When I was into it and passionate about it, I was a very good teacher, I felt. But when I stopped, it was going too far, I was driving too much, and I needed a break from it.
Yeah.
And so I stopped, and I ended up doing construction for a couple years, just like residential remodel stuff. Actually, with Tyler Hamilton. Once again, that kid came and saved my life. When I was in the...
There he is again.
You should probably interview him next.
All right. Yeah.
And I, he hooked me up with this job in my time of need when I was hurting and needing that, and I'm glad I did it for a few years because I got a different perspective on it. I I learned some new skills and learned about myself and learned some discipline and things like that. Kind of got a butt kicking that I needed from it. But also I started getting further and further away from music. I ended up, you're tired, end up practicing a lot less, ended up gigging a lot less. I thought it was going to be something that I'd be able to balance, like making my money over here and just playing gigs or whatever, playing music in my spare time, but it ended up not really being like that. And again, I don't regret it. It was what I needed at the time, but I'm really happy to be done with it now. And so last year when we met at the Spirit Camp, I had a really tough time because I had basically been doing construction like all summer.
Yeah, I remember you talking about doing construction when we met.
Yeah, I've been doing that all summer, just building a house and not really playing that much. And then I was super excited to come here, but then when I came, I just felt completely disconnected. And the camp was pretty tough for me, and it ended up helping in the end. Ended up helping me kind of point me back in the right direction. That was the first step. But it was still a long year after that, still a long, hard year after that. And then in May, when I signed up for this camp, I was like, well, I'm not going to do that again. That was not fun.
Yeah. So
the next day after I signed up for this camp, I started my practice journal up again. And like just doing my little bit of practicing every day and recording it and holding myself accountable. And it was immediate. It was all, as soon as I started that back up again, music was like, hey, you're back, Dylan. We missed you. We saved you a seat. Gigs just started rolling in again. I picked up a church gig 2 days later. I picked up a great church gig that has been awesome for me, giving me insight into a community that I was never really a part of before, and give me a chance to play some beautiful music with some beautiful players. A lot of them are actually from the group The Ancient Robots I was talking about earlier, who I've been playing with a number of years now, but now I'm playing with them every Sunday too, and putting a little money in my pocket too. So that's been a really great experience over this last summer. So I've been doing that a few months now.
Yeah, that great project, and now you're feeling in a good place.
Yeah, and so
you got this. I mean, if we then look back here, you were singing and you had a song in your heart all the time when you were little, and you wanted to play the flute, and then you picked up the bass, and then you were really happy doing it, and then you got away, and now you're happy again. And so what is this? What is this thing, this music thing? I mean, it obviously means a huge amount to you. It's a really important thing in your life.
Absolutely. I've learned so much.
How do you describe that, what it is, and that kind of that power?
Wow.
And does it come from what it gives you? Does it also come from what in your bandmates, these guys that you've been playing with, or the audiences? I mean, what really strikes you as, if you're trying to describe what the hell is this thing called
I think
music?
Maybe it sucks you in from what it gives you.
It sucks you in?
Sucks you in from what it gives you.
From what it gives you.
I mean, you've felt those moments in when you're playing those songs you love or jamming with people, and you just get completely swept up in the moment and you almost don't exist for a little while there. Yeah. I'll tell you, in high school, that band Missing Link, we played the school talent show one time, another talent show, and we played one, maybe two songs, but the whole school was watching in the auditorium, and we just rocked out this song, and we had a blast, we loved it, and I was just literally like on a natural music high for like a day and a half, and I've pretty much been chasing that dragon ever since.
Wow.
You know,
I mean, I certainly know when you're playing a song and you finish the song and you just feel, wow. A lot of times when people finish songs, they just immediately start laughing like, oh man,
right?
My God.
It just evokes, it can evoke happy emotions where you just feel great, but it can also evoke, as we saw in the classes we were doing today, you can evoke all kinds of emotions with it, right? You know, and there's been music that I've listened to, that you listen to, that just automatically brings a tear to your eye.
It's really such powerful stuff.
So powerful.
So you also mentioned that before you started out the set for Love Supreme, that you had some words for the audience. You want to talk about that?
Well, so what I just explained to them, that for me, the mantra that was for that night, set the tone for the night, was just, I offer this healing vibration, right? And that was from your podcast with Michael, and he was talking about, I think it was from the Nada Brahma book he was talking about, or maybe it was adjacent to that, but that's where I heard that line, and the idea was, everything we do is vibration. Everything is vibration, right? Music, you pluck a string, it vibrates. You move your vocal cords, it vibrates. Your electrons, molecules, everything's vibrating all the time down at that level. When your thoughts are vibration, your heartbeat is a vibration, your actions send out vibrational waves wherever you do those, right? And so the idea is that if you can do basically whatever you're doing with the intention of healing, with the intention of offering that vibration in a healing manner, well, I just believe that that's going to make the world a better place, right? I feel like that's maybe the ultimate intention.
I think so. Right.
Everybody needs healing. I need healing. You need healing. Yeah. Everybody has traumas and wounds to whatever degree. You know, we've all have had things that hurt us, and in better health we are mentally, physically, spiritually, we're all going to create a better place for us all. The world will just be in better shape, the better shape everybody's in, right? And so, again, if you can do whatever it is you're doing with the intention of healing.
And so, I mean, you've played thousands of songs for people. And you get up and you play a song 8 days a week or whatever, and it's playing a song.
Yeah.
And maybe people are dancing, they're having fun and all that.
And you can add whatever intention you have behind that.
But you kind of now affirmatively, think about that intention.
I try.
Yeah.
I try. It's simple, but not necessarily an easy thing to do. Though I definitely encourage everybody to give it a shot and see what happens. I'm not fully healed myself. I'm still working through whatever it is that I'm working through, all the things. But yeah, I do try to do that. And when you're even, music's so powerful because you can reach a huge number of people at one time with those vibrations. But even in your interactions with people, at the moments when I can remember to have that intention, I feel that it's very good, and that I feel that the interactions go better. I feel like when maybe I have a problem with somebody, something that they're doing is rubbing me the wrong way or whatever it is, right?
They're bugging you.
Bugging me. They're bugging me, or I feel like they're harming me or harming other people or something like that. Or harming themselves. A lot of times, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be really hard to express those things. You don't want to offend. You don't want to hurt people's feelings, right? But really, like, if you're not helping them out, that's not helpful, obviously. But I've found if I can have that intention behind it of wanting healing for them, most of the time, or a lot of the time, it's better. It's received easier. The hard messages are easier received than if I just get mad and say something to somebody, you know. If I can remember that the reason I'm saying this to them is out of love, as opposed to bottling it up until it just explodes out. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. I definitely do that sometimes too, but it's an ongoing process. It's something I'm definitely working on. So I'm speaking my truth when I feel it, as opposed to bottling it up and getting resentful and exploding at whoever gets in the way, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's pretty powerful stuff. I mean, intention. I mean, that was sort of that struck me from what the character Michael in Victor Wooten's book, The Music Lesson, said. Intention is the key to everything.
Yeah.
And certainly if you want to try to play a musical instrument, you got to have some intention to do that, or you're just not going to play it.
Well, it's also really easy to just get up and fiddle with no intention.
Yeah.
And it's easy to walk through your day with no intention for yourself. It's easy to wake up and not have any reason for waking up, and just drag yourself out of bed and don't know why you're going to work, don't know why you're trying to make money, don't know what you're doing it for. I see it a lot. I see, I've been driving, so I stopped doing construction in the beginning of summer, and I've been driving Uber in the mornings and then gigging at night, and it's been awesome. I've been loving it. Because it just affords me a lot of free time, and I'm making enough money to pay my bills and stuff, and I get to talk to people, just get to like chat with people from all walks of life, all over the world, who are in Seattle. But a lot of who I'm driving around is people going to work, you know, because I'm doing those morning commutes. And a lot of tech companies. There's a lot of tech companies in Seattle, Amazon, Facebook,
and all these people
Microsoft.
Are just totally happy going into the office, right?
Well, see, here's the thing. It's really about 50-50, I find. You know, which you might not expect. I kind of would have thought that'd be more depressed people, so that makes me really happy, first of all. But it's kind of about 50-50. Like, you got one guy going to Amazon. He's like, man, I'm like, how you doing today, sir? He's like, I'm great. I'm waking up. I'm going into Amazon. I love working at Amazon. I'm a coder. I love writing code. It's what I love doing, you know, and he's just happy and feeling good. And I'll drop him off. And then I'll go pick up the next guy. I'm like, how are you doing? He's like, man, I got to go code at Amazon. I hate it. Drop him off, same building, same job. But that guy's not in his purpose. You know?
Yeah.
That guy's not doing what he loved. That other guy probably got a computer and picked up coding when he was in middle school, just like I picked up the bass when I was 13. He was just like loved computers and started coding, learning it all on his own when he was 13 also. You know what I mean? And like, that's what he loves doing. And the second guy probably just was like, well, I got to go to college and I got to get a job. I got to make money. I guess tech would be good. I guess I'll learn to code.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't. And that, I mean, I've been blessed that I have known that music was something special for me my whole life. And a lot of people, I guess, don't find their passions early, but think that would be one of the best things we could do for society, would be to set up our schools and early childhood education in a way that help people to discover their passion rather than turn them into factory workers.
Absolutely, 100% on that.
I know in the bottom of my soul that the more people who are living in their passion and in their purpose, the more beautiful this world's going to be. The more healing is going to happen. I mean, you think about, like, there's probably some genius, or a bunch of them probably. We're all some kind of genius.
7 billion geniuses.
7 billion geniuses, and there's a bunch of them, like, sitting in front of a computer, tick, 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 doing something they completely hate when they should be out there inventing us some amazing next invention to help us save the world, right?
Or just playing music, or doing
just
art,
playing music,
or
inspiring people,
teaching other kids,
or teaching, or
doing the good stuff.
Who knows? Yeah, everybody's here to work. Humans are the only beings on Earth that work.
Huh.
Nobody else does that.
Well, I think ants have to work a little bit, like making stuff. But I think they just feel it's part of their role, and it's not. I don't think they feel it's a drudgery.
Yeah. I think they just do.
Yeah.
Like most of the other animals, they're just running completely off instinct. They're just kind of. We're aware that we need to work. We make sacrifices to make our life better in the future.
Yeah.
Right.
So we also just talked about how learning a song or wanting to put on a program with Love Supreme or something like that can kind of help give your life meaning. It's almost if you learn what gives your life meaning, it's easier to deal with life.
When you know when you got your passion, you don't have time to be judging other people about what they're doing. You don't have time for that stuff. You got work to do, and it's invigorating. These guys who are working, these like the genius guys, like the Steve Jobs and stuff like that, who are working like 14-hour days, but they're doing it because it's in their blood.
Yeah.
It's what they're here on this planet to be doing. It's what makes them come alive.
Yeah.
And that's where we're supposed to be. We're here alive to be alive.
Yeah. Well, and music can certainly give you almost like the knowledge or the experience or the perspective to be able to, even if you have another passion, or to not look at something else you got to do in addition to music as drudgery. Let me ask one other thing. So here we are at Spirit of Music Camp, and it's quite amazing. What's your perspective on, given that you were just talking about people doing their passions and it'll help bring, maybe help make a better world. What do you think about what's going on here in that light and the people here,
Victor Wooten is the epitome of that. What he's built here. And this is my 4th time coming here. I've been coming here since 2012, and every time I come here is an enlightening, eye-opening experience of going deeper into myself and learning more about myself and learning more about music. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think that that is exactly what he's about, is that everybody has a thing, and they need to be doing that.
Yeah.
That's where we should be. Just, what was he talking about all week? Was just basically talking about good intentions all week.
Yeah. Thinking good even about the bad stuff.
Thinking good even about the bad stuff, and even trying things. Like, we're doing some kind of out there stuff here, trying some metaphysical ideas or whatever, but and what he kept saying is just like, even if somebody proved that those ideas were not true someday, like beyond a shadow of a doubt, what did we hurt in trying? Because our intentions were good. We're just trying to help,
Yeah.
Whereas
absolutely.
the opposite, if they proved that it was true and we never tried, then where are we at?
Yeah. Man, great conversation.
Hey, thank you, Jefferson. That was my pleasure.
Man, so enjoyed being with you and able to talk about this stuff. And I think maybe what we should be doing about now is we should be going back over there and see if we could jam a little bit.
Make a little bit of music. I appreciate it.
That'd be great.
That was a blast. Thank you.
All right, Dylan Hughes, everybody, and see you next time. You've been listening to Planetary Gig Talk, Tales of Music and Magic. I'm your host, Jefferson Glassy, Chief Spiritual Dude of the Planetary Gig Society. We talk with musicians and others about the power of music and how we can use music to help create a better world. Please check out our website, www.planetarygigs.org, for information about some of the organizations promoting music and musicians, resources about the power of music, books, movies, articles, including new research on music and the brain. We welcome your support. The Planetary Gig Society is a Section 501c3 charitable organization, and you can donate on the website. You also can receive a free email signature block demonstrating your support for Planetary Gig Society. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Planetary Gigs. And we want to thank fabulous musician and teacher Eric Weinberg of Little Eric Studios for the Planetary Gig Talk music titled Chill Kid, It's Saul. So please check out Planetary Gig Talk on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Subscribe and hear all the upcoming episodes. Thanks very much.